Welcome to a journey to discover Denmark, where ancient castles like Kronborg tell the story of Hamlet, the streets of Copenhagen are colorful, and the Baltic waves lap at the beaches of Skagen. This Nordic country is a symphony of Viking history, from ancient ships to rolling wheat fields. Every step is a story, from pristine Faroese villages to vibrant jazz festivals. Denmark is not just a destination, but a journey to the heart, where hygge culture blends with warm hospitality. Get ready to be enchanted by this country, from Amalienborg palaces to the bright smiles of its people. If you love exploring new lands, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment to share your feelings. And now let's explore this country together. Denmark is a symphony of Nordic nature, where the sea, deep forests, and grassy hills come together to create a living masterpiece. With over 7,300 kilometers of rolling coastline and 406 islands, Denmark is a picture of soft white sand, gentle Baltic waves, and cliffs that tell a million-year story. In Romo, part of the Wadensee National Park, the widest beach in northern Europe stretches to the horizon, where you can ride a horse on the sand, listening to the sound of waves and the rhythmic sound of horses' hooves. A cool sea breeze blows, carrying the smell of salt and hay from the nearby pastures. Want to gallop down the beach, feeling like a Viking conquering the ocean? On the nearby island of Fano, you can surf the Baltic waves, smell the salty sea, and hear the seagulls cry overhead. The sea teaches us to live slowly, like the waves crashing on the shore, says a Fano resident. In Mons Klint, on the east side of the island of Mon, 128 high white chalk cliffs tower over the Baltic Sea like a giant wall in Norse mythology. Walk along the cliff path, listening to the waves crashing against the rocks and the rustling of leaves in the nearby oak forest. At the foot of the cliffs, you find fossils of octopuses and sea urchins from 70 million years ago. Do you dare to bend down, touch the fossils, and feel the passage of time? In Skagen, Denmark's northernmost point, the Baltic and North Seas meet at Grenland, creating a magical wave where you stand between two oceans, feeling the wind blowing from both sides. The light here, clear and golden, inspired 19th century Skagen painters. Would you like to stand on the headland, let the waves touch your feet, and dream of light paintings? Bornholm, the Baltic island known as the Pearl of Denmark, is a place where gray granite cliffs, red and gold fishing villages, and the lush Almindingen forest blend together. You walk through the forest, smell the pine resin and damp earth, hear the warblers sing, and see rune-carved Viking stones hidden under the trees. The sea gives us fish, but the forest gives us silence, says a Bornholm fisherman. In the Wadensee National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, you wade through mud in search of oysters and see millions of migratory birds like sandpipers and gulls congregate in the sky. Want to hold an oyster, feel the rough shell, and dream of Viking feasts? In Roskilde Fjord, you kayak through mirror-like waters, spot swans swimming in the reflection of Frederiksborg Castle. You hold your paddle, listen to the gentle lapping of the water, and smell the fresh grass from the shore. Do you want to paddle, feel the pulse of the fjord? In Rold Skov, Denmark's largest forest, you cycle through trails under the canopy of pine and oak, hear the dry leaves rustle under your wheels, and smell the sweet scent of tree sap. In Nye National Park, Western Jutland, 30 high shifting sand dunes slowly drift across the grasslands, creating a Nordic desert. You camp under the stars, light a campfire, and hear the wind sing through the dunes. Do you want to lie on the grass, gaze at the Milky Way, and dream of fairy tales? In Silkeborg, in the Jutland Lake region, you can sail past Himmeldjurget, a 147 high hill with sparkling lakes and lush pine forests. In the Faroe Islands, part of the Kingdom of Denmark, steep cliffs and waterfalls like Mjølnefosser cascade into the Atlantic, creating a majestic world. You can hike through the Faroese grasslands, see grazing sheep, and smell the sea. Danish nature is more than just scenery, it is epic, a call from the sea, the forest, and the fjord, inviting you to immerse yourself in every moment. Denmark is a living story of brave Viking warriors, fairy tale castles, and a kingdom that is at the forefront of happiness and sustainability. More than 1,000 years ago, Viking warriors from Denmark sailed to Iceland, Greenland, and even North America. In Roskilde, the Viking Ship Museum houses 5 ancient ships with dragon motifs, remnants of a glorious era. In Jelling, 2 rune-engraved stone tablets of King Gorm the Old and Harald Bluetooth are considered the birth certificate of the Danish nation. Standing in the middle of a field, you can hear history whispering through the wind. Kronborg Castle in Helsingør, the setting for Hamlet, takes you into the world of knights and kings. Ribe, Denmark's oldest town, tells its story through its cobblestones and old wooden houses. In the 14th century, Denmark led the Kalmar Union, uniting Northern Europe. Frederiksborg Castle, with its magnificent Knights Hall, is a testament to that golden age. Today, the country boasts a first-class welfare system and more than 50% of its electricity is generated by wind power. The Man Meets the Sea statue in Esbjerg and the National Museum in Copenhagen trace the journey from prehistoric stone axes to modern wind turbines. Denmark doesn't just preserve its history, it lives with it, inspiring the future. Danish culture is a gentle symphony of tradition and modernity, the warmth of the fire of hygge, the art of living a cozy and loving life. You can feel hygge when sitting by the window of a small house in Copenhagen, covered with a soft wool blanket, sipping hot cocoa, and listening to the pattering of rain outside. The soft yellow candlelight, the smell of beeswax, the laughter of friends, all blend together to create the feeling that the whole world is gently embracing you. At Design Museum Denmark, you will discover the spirit of hygge in design. Arne Jacobsen's egg chair with its perfect curves, Poul Henningsen's pH lamp that shines like moonlight, or the elegant and sophisticated Royal Copenhagen ceramics. We create spaces where people can feel at peace in their own homes, says a young designer. Literature is also the soul of Danish culture. In Odense, the hometown of Hans Christian Andersen, you step into the small house where he wrote The Little Mermaid and The Little Match Girl. The wooden room, the old writing desk, the faint smell of ink seem to bring you back to your childhood memories. Sitting under an oak tree, reading Andersen's stories and listening to the birds singing, that is a complete Nordic morning. Modern art comes alive at AROS in Aarhus, where a rainbow bridge on the roof lets you see the city in red, green, and yellow. I paint to keep the Nordic light alive, even on the grayest winter days, says one artist. In Bornholm, you can make pottery, hear the crackle of the fire, and smell the earth. In Skagen, you can learn to paint the sea like 19th century masters. Villages still practice ancient rune carving and weave scarves with Nordic patterns. The breath of Viking ancestors is still present. Above all, hospitality is at the heart of Danish culture. In Skagen, a fishing family invites you to tea and tell stories of storms by the fireplace. In Ribe, a candlemaker says, every candle is a little bit of hygge to warm someone. A simple hedge, or tack for alt, is enough to bring a smile. Danish culture is a gentle invitation. Come, slow down, find hygge, and let the Nordics embrace your soul. Now, we come to Copenhagen, the vibrant heart of Denmark, where fairy tales meet modern life. Nyhavn, a canal famous for its pastel red, yellow, and blue houses, is where you sit by the water, smell the baking bread from the cafes, and hear the gentle sound of wooden boats. The white sails flutter, and the sunlight reflects on the water like thousands of diamonds. Would you like to take a boat ride through Nyhavn, see the house where Hans Christian Andersen lived and dreamed of The Little Mermaid? At Tivoli Gardens, an amusement park since 1843, the lights twinkle, the laughter of children echoes, and the sweet smell of cotton candy fills the air. You ride a roller coaster, hear the whistling wind, and feel like you're flying past fairy tale castles. Would you like to try a Ferris wheel, see Copenhagen from above? Amalienborg Palace, the Royal Palace, is where you can watch the changing of the guard, hear the sound of soldiers' boots on the stone courtyard, and see the royal flag fluttering in the wind. Do you want to stand in front of the palace and imagine yourself as a prince or princess? At Christiansborg Palace, the seat of the parliament, climb Copenhagen's tallest tower and admire the skyline with its red roofs and ancient bell tower. Do you want to touch the tower's railings, feel the Baltic wind and see the city as a painting? Rundetårn, a round tower from 1642, takes you up in a unique spiral. You walk, hear your footsteps echo on the stone and smell the old wood from the tower's roof. On Straget, the longest pedestrian street in Europe, you can shop for Royal Copenhagen pottery, listen to street music with saxophones and accordions, and smell the coffee from small cafes. Do you want to stop, dance to the music and buy a blue ceramic mug? In Vesterbro, a hip neighborhood, you can explore antique shops and neon bars. In Nørrebro, a multicultural area, you can see murals and hear children playing ball. Dronning Louise Bridge, the famous bicycle bridge, is ablaze at night with thousands of cyclists. Do you want to cycle across the bridge, hear the jingle of bells and feel the pulse of Copenhagen? In Refshaleøen, a former industrial area now a creative hub, you can see factories transformed into galleries. At night, Copenhagen is a picture of light, with the Opera House sparkling on the harbor. Do you want to sit by the wharf, sip a coffee and watch the city sparkle? Copenhagen is where fairy tales and modernity blend together. The heart of Denmark invites you to immerse yourself. Denmark is not to be seen, it is to be lived, to touch the Nordic soul in every moment. In Roskilde Fjord, you kayak through the calm waters, see white swans swimming in the reflection of Frederiksborg Castle. You hold the paddle, listen to the gentle lapping of the water and smell the fresh grass from the shore. Do you want to paddle, feel the pulse of the fjord? In Copenhagen, you cycle along 400 kilometers of dedicated paths, passing green parks and sparkling canals. The cool breeze blows, carrying the scent of apple blossoms and the tinkling of car bells. Do you want to cycle across Dronning Louise Bridge, join the crowd and feel the rhythm of life? In Bornholm, you can walk through Hammer's Castle, the largest 13th century fortress in Northern Europe, listening to the sea breeze tell stories of knights and kings. Do you want to stand on the castle walls, look out at the Baltic Sea and dream of the Middle Ages? In Fano, you can surf the Baltic waves, hear the roar of the waves and feel the cool seawater. In Skagen, you can take a painting class with a local artist and learn how to capture the Baltic light on canvas. Do you want to pick up a brush and let the waves and sand come to life in your paintings? In Nye National Park, you can ride a horse over the shifting dunes, hear the sound of horses' hooves on the sand and smell the hay. Visit the Viking Ship Museum in Roskilde, board a replica ship, take up the oars and listen to the tour guide tell about the trips to Greenland. Do you want to row a ship, feel like a Viking warrior? In Aarhus, you pass through the rainbow panorama at the AROS Museum, see the city in brilliant colors. In Odense, you join a Hans Christian Andersen storytelling workshop, sit by candlelight and tell The Princess and the Pea. Do you want to tell a story, hear the laughter of children? In Silkeborg, you row across the Himmeldyrgade Lake, see the pine forest and listen to the sound of the water. In Ribe, you join a night tour with a night watchman, hold a lantern and listen to ghost stories from the 16th century. In Bornholm, you learn to make pottery, mold clay, and smell the earthenware. In Vejle, you walk across the Fjordenes Bridge, Olafur Eliassen's masterpiece, see the light reflecting like a painting. In the Faroe Islands, you can walk through the Kollur Cliffs, look out over the Atlantic Ocean and listen to the roar of the waves. Want to stand on the cliffs and feel like you're at the end of the world? Denmark is a journey of living life to the fullest, from Baltic waves to hygge candles. Denmark is a festive musical, where joy explodes under the Nordic stars. The Christmas season transforms Copenhagen into a fairy tale, with the Tivoli market twinkling with lights, a 20 tall Christmas tree, and the sweet smell of Abelskiver. Want to taste a donut, hear a choir sing carols, and feel the hygge? In Odense, the Andersen Christmas Festival reenacts the fairy tale, with actors playing the Little Match Girl. Want to wander through the market, holding a lantern, and dream of a fairy tale? Copenhagen Jazz Festival, held in July, brings saxophones and trumpets to every corner, from Nijmegen to Vesterbro. Want to dance to jazz and hear trumpets ringing out in the sunset? In Roskilde, the Viking Festival reenacts a battle with armored warriors and the clash of swords. Want to try on Viking armor, wield a shield, and hear war drums? In Aarhus, the Nordic Food Festival sees chefs cooking up smørrebrød and pickled herring. In Skagen, the Festival of Lights lights up thousands of lanterns on the beach, creating a sea of stars on the sand. Want to release a lantern and send your wishes into the sky? In Ribe, the medieval festival transports you to the 16th century with its old market, armor, and lute music. In Fano, the Kite Festival turns the sky into a rainbow with dragon kites and Viking ships. Ever wanted to fly a kite and see it soar like a dream? The Danish Festival is a dance of joy, light, and music, inviting you to join the Nordic beat. Danish street food is a delicate blend of Nordic flavors and the warmth of its people. In Copenhagen, smørrebrød, rye bread topped with salted herring, egg, dill, and remoulade sauce, is a traditional culinary masterpiece. Each bite carries the scent of the Baltic Sea and Danish flair. At Torvhallen Market, æbleskiver, donuts sprinkled with powdered sugar, are a symbol of winter and Christmas, bringing with them the warm spirit of hygge. On the streets, pulse, grilled sausages served with spicy mustard and fried onions, are a familiar and appealing dish. In Aarhus, frikadeller, pork patties mixed with dill and onions, evoke a home-cooked meal. Odense offers rugbrød, rye bread served with butter and Dannebrog cheese. Bornholm is famous for its sild, pickled herring, which is closely linked to the maritime tradition. In Fano, you can enjoy pandekager, thin crepes with strawberries and whipped cream, light as the summer sun. Ribe offers kransekage, crispy almond cakes for festivals, and Vejle has æbelkage, apple cakes with breadcrumbs and creamy cream. Danish street food is not only delicious, but also a way for people to share their culture, send a welcome and joy to all visitors. Denmark is a leader in sustainable tourism, where people and nature write the future together. In the Wadensee National Park, you can take an oyster conservation tour, wade through mud, and learn about migratory birds. Would you like to hold an oyster, feel the rough shell, and know that you are saving the sea? In Copenhagen, 74% of traffic is by bicycle, significantly reducing emissions. Would you like to cycle across Dronning Louise Bridge and contribute to keeping the city green? Every cycle is a breath of fresh air for Denmark, said one Copenhagener. On Bornholm, the Green Island, you can take part in a recycling workshop and learn how to turn plastic bottles into decorations. On Roskilde, you can help preserve Viking ships, touch ancient wood, and listen to your guide tell you about Viking technology. In Middelbranden, off the coast of Copenhagen, 20 wind turbines provide clean electricity to 3% of the city. Would you like to take a boat out to the turbines, hear the blades whirring, and feel the power of the wind? In Silkeborg, you plant oak trees in the forest, helping the forest grow. In Fano, you help clean up the beach, protecting sea turtles. In the Faroe Islands, you learn about sustainable sheep farming and hear stories of harmonious living. In Nye National Park, you help preserve the dunes, keeping them from being blown away by the wind. These experiences are not only fun, but also preserve Denmark, the sea, the forest, and the green dream. Do you want to tread lightly so that the Nordic pearl will always shine? Denmark is more than a country, it's a Nordic epic, where the Baltic waves tell Viking tales, the oak forests whisper fairy tales, and hygge warms the soul. From the white sands of Romo, the Mons Klint cliffs, the Kronborg Castle, to the lights of Tivoli and the scent of smørrebrød, Denmark is a place where you live, love, and find happiness in every moment. You'll touch the soft sand of Skagen, hear the accordion in Nijmegen, smell æbleskiver at the Christmas market, and dream of Viking ships sailing the ocean. Denmark isn't in a book, It lives inside you, in every beat, every breath. If you can't get there right away, start with a hot cocoa, light a candle, listen to some Danish jazz, or dream of the lights of Copenhagen. Every little step is a piece of your journey. Denmark is a dream, an epic, waiting for you to write it down. Dare you touch the Nordic gem and let the hygge candlelight awaken your heart? Stand up, take a deep breath, let the scent of the Baltic Sea, oak, and baked goods guide you, and begin your journey to Denmark today.